Today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this simple cotton dishcloth. To make this dishcloth, you're going to need a 5mm crochet hook. I'm using my clover. You're going to need a yarn needle or a tapestry needle to weave in your ends. And you're going to need a ball of yarn. For our dishcloths, typically we use cotton. You should use 100% cotton, but I'm just using what I had in my stash to show you. This one happens to be 55% acrylic, 45% cotton, and it's a medium 4-weight yarn. And this is where you see the weight of the yarn. That's a worsted weight yarn. Since this lesson is for complete beginners, I want to start with a few beginning things that you need to know for crochet, and that's one, how to hold your hook, and then how to hold your yarn. I'm going to start with how to hold your hook. There are two different ways that you can hold your hook. You can use the knife style, which is what I use. That's the most comfortable for me. Or there's also the pencil hold, which is like this. Some people find this more comfortable. I do it this way. I've tried the other way. I can't get the hang of it. My tension's never correct. So this is the way I learned, so that's the way I do it. The other thing you need to know is how to hold your yarn. Now I've created a slip knot here, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a little bit, but you have your working end of your yarn, that's the one that's attached to the yarn ball, and then you have your loose end, and that's the one that obviously is not attached. So I typically take my finger and I wrap my pinky around my yarn, and then I put it over top of my index finger. What this does for me is creates tension as I'm crocheting, but not too much tension. You don't want to wrap it too tightly, just loosely around there, and that helps to create tension. And then as you crochet, you just let the yarn flow through your fingers. Don't hold it tightly, just let it flow through. So now I'm going to show you how to make a slip knot, and that's the first step pretty much to any crochet project, is making a slip knot and crocheting a chain. So you take your yarn, you're going to wrap it around your fingers like this. You're going to pull it off of your fingers. You're going to put your crochet hook through the loop that you just made, and then you're going to grab a hold of the working yarn, and you're going to pull up a loop like that, and then you're just going to tighten that. And then if you pull on your working yarn that's attached to your yarn ball, it will tighten that to your hook. So you don't want it so tight that it won't move, but you want it tight enough so that you've created a knot there. So you get your yarn ready to go, and then the first thing you're going to do for making this slip knot is you're going to chain 32. It's important to count so that you have the right size when you're finished. A chain stitch is very simple. So you start with your hook like this, your slip knot's on your hook. I hold this part in my middle finger and my thumb, and my index finger is holding my working yarn. And then you take your crochet hook and bring your yarn over top of it, and then your hook grabs a hold of the yarn and you pull it through the loop that's already on your hook. That's one chain. You do that 32 times. Okay, you can pause the video till I get to 32. Okay, so I've chained 32. I'm going to show you what these chain stitches look like. You can count them if you're unsure of how many you've done, because it's easy to lose count. You can see these little stitches here. This is one stitch, this is one stitch. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and that last one, 32. So each one of these little bumps that you see is one stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's how you count your stitches. So now that you have your chain complete, you want to start into your first actual row. This was just a foundation chain. Pull some yarn out there. You're start with your first actual row. So you need to count 3 stitches from the hook. So you don't count the one that's on the hook, but you start here. So that's 1, 2, and 3. You're counting those bumps. Now we're going to do just a double crochet all the way across, and these 2 chains is going to count as 1 stitch also. So when we're done with the row, we'll have 31 counting these 2 chains. So to make a double crochet, the first thing you do is you pull your yarn over your hook. That's called a yarn over. Then you put your hook into that stitch that you want to go to, and this one is the 3rd one from the hook. So you go into that stitch, and then you're going to pull your yarn over your hook again, and you're going to grab a hold of that yarn and pull up a loop. So then you'll have 3 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3. So then you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull this next piece of yarn through 2 of those loops, not all 3, just 2. So pull through 2, and then you'll have 2 loops on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through the last 2 loops, leaving you with just 1 loop on the hook, and that's a double crochet. So now we have 2 stitches counting this chain stitch. That's 1, 2. Now we're going to go into the very next bump right here, this one. So you're going to yarn over, and you're going to go into that loop. You're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull up 1 loop, and then that leaves 3 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3. You're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and that's your second double crochet. I'm going to do that a few more times, and then we'll pause the video until we get to the end of this row, and I'll show you what to do next. So we're going to yarn over, always start with the yarn over with a double crochet. You're going to go into that next stitch, which is right here. Put your hook through there, yarn over, grab a hold of that yarn and pull up a loop, and you'll have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through 2 of those loops, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through the other 2 loops, leaving you with 1 on the hook. So now we've got 4 total stitches, because we're counting the 3 double crochets that we made in the chains at the end. So I'm going to do that one more time. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to go into the very next loop, put my hook in there, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. And that's another double crochet. I'll do that one more time just so you get it, and then we'll pause the video and move on. So we're going into the next loop, which is right here. We want to yarn over first, go into that loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And that's your double crochet. So you can see how that's starting to look. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets in that chain. Those chains at the end count as another one, so that's 6 total. So at the end of this row, again, I'm going to have 31. So there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to pause the video, and then I'm going to finish out this row and show you what to do next. Okay, so I'm at the end of this row. I'm going to show you there are 2 stitches left that I didn't do yet, because I wanted to show you how to finish out this row. But I'm going to show you how to count these stitches. So we start here with this chain, these chain stitches that we had at the end, so that counts as 1. And we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm just counting each one of these posts right here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29, and then I'll put 1 here for 30 and 1 here for 31. There's another way you can count stitches too when it comes to double crochet, and that is by looking at these little V's up in the top. And these little V's are going to come in handy here when we start our next row. But each little V is 1 stitch, so you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see those little V's. Come up closer there. Each one of those V's counts as 1 stitch. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Okay, so that right now there are 28 of those total, including this last part here. Now this last part is a little hard to see, This is that last V here, and that comes from these chain stitches here. Okay, so we have 28. And then we're going to finish out this row with another double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 29, or I'm sorry, that's 30. And this is 31. Okay, and I'm going to pause the video here for a second. Okay, so I want to show you, again, counting these stitches. This actually is not the top of that chain. This is that first double crochet stitch. Right here is the top of that chain. Okay, and that becomes important when we finish out the next row, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So we're counting this right here as 1. Then we have our first V, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can see how you count those V's until you get all the way to the end, and then this last V right here, I can't see that, hold on. This last V right here is 31. Okay, and then this is the loop that was on my hook. So I'm going to put my hook back in that loop, and I'm going to show you how you start your next row. So what you're going to do next is you're going to chain 2. So remember we did chain stitches before, and that's just you're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, and that's 1, yarn over, pull up a loop, and that's 2. And then you're going to turn your work. That just means you flip it over so all of your work is going this way instead of the other way. Now, we're going to start doing double crochets in this next row. Because we're counting the chain as 1, we're not going to go into this hole right here. We're going to go into the next one. And when you go into these, what you're going to do, you need to yarn over first, since this is a double crochet. This is that first one that we're kind of skipping over. We're going to go into this next one, and you go into the front of the stitch like this, and you want to make sure you're going under both loops of that V. A lot of times beginning people, what they'll do is they'll go into just that back loop, and you can do that, but that's going to create a different look. It's kind of a different stitch. So you want to go under both loops, and then you're going to yarn over, pull up 1 loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook again. You're going to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and that's your first double crochet in that row. The chain stitches count as 1, so now we have 2 stitches. At the end of this row, we'll have 31 again. So to do the third one, we're going to yarn over. We're going to go through both of those, under both of those strands of that V, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. And that's your second double crochet, but the third stitch, because this chain counts as 1. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to show you from this angle. You're going to yarn over, you're going to go into that next stitch, go under both sections of that V. You can see right there the V. You're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then you have your next stitch. I'll show you one more time. You can see that V right there. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going through the stitch under both parts of that V, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. And that's your next stitch. And then you just keep doing that until you get to the end of the row. And I'm going to stop before the last stitch of the row so I can show you where to find that last stitch. But you can pause the video and go ahead and finish your row, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so here I am at the end of the next row, and I'm going to show you, I have 2 more stitches to do, I think. So we've got 1 stitch here, then we start counting our V's, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So now I need to do one in this last V right here, which is 30. And then I need to go into this chain over here, which is 31. And it's kind of small and hard to find, which is why I wanted to show you this. So that last V is right here. It's kind of stretched out a little bit from the beginning whenever I was showing you that. But I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to go into that last V just like that. Yarn over, I'm going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Now I've got to find this last chain, which is right over here, and you kind of just eyeball it. You can pretty much go in there anywhere you want. You yarn over first because you're making a double crochet, and I'm just going to go right into here, and that's that last chain stitch that we did before we turned our work. And I'm going to yarn over, go through there, and I try to pick up 2 loops when I go through here just to make your end stitches a little stronger. You can do just one, it's going to make it a little bit looser, but however you can do it. So just get that hook in there, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and that finishes out your second row. And you can see how you can count your rows, just these stitches. This is 1 row and this is the second row. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep crocheting until you get 20 rows. So you're at the end of a row. What you need to do is chain 2, 1 and 2, turn your work, and again you're going to not go in this very first one, but you're going to go in this one. So you're going to yarn over, you're going to skip this one and go into this one under both of those V's, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and go all the way to the end. And then you're just going to keep doing that until you have 20 rows total. And I'll show you in my sample here that I did. You count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And once you get to 20, I'll show you how to finish off your project. If you don't get to 20, if you don't have enough yarn or whatever, it's just a dishcloth, so size really doesn't matter. Wherever you think you want to stop, you stop. And you can use this to wash dishes, you can use this as a washcloth in the shower, you can use it as a face scrubby, you know, whatever you'd like to use it as. You could use it, I wouldn't suggest using it as a pot holder because the weave is kind of an more open weave, and you'll get burnt if you do that. You could use it as a trivet though to set something warm on a table. But that is the finished project. Now I'm going to show you how to finish your project when you get to the end. So you can pause the video, crochet your 20 rows, and then start when you're finished. Okay, so I'm just going to show you at the end of my second row how you would finish off your rows. Now obviously you're going to do your 20 rows before you do this. So when you're finished with your 20 rows, this is what you're going to do. So I've just finished my last double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull up a loop, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut the yarn from my working yarn. I'm going to give it a little bit of length there so I can weave in that end, and that way it doesn't unravel. So you're just going to cut that yarn, and your hook is still in there. You're going to pull that yarn through and just pull it tight, and that will secure the end of your piece there. So now what you'll have is your piece will look like this. It'll be big like this, but you'll have an end on each corner, opposite corners. Then you're going to take your yarn needle, and a yarn needle is just like a regular needle. Some of them are plastic. This one happens to be metal, and it has a bigger eye so that the yarn will fit through it. So you're going to thread your needle, and I always do this like this. I just wrap it around and I pull it tight so that it kind of squeezes that yarn and fits through the eye of the needle easier. It's hard to do this on camera. Okay, let me try one more time. I'm not gonna get it. Almost. Try again. There it goes. All right, and then you just pull it up just like you thread a regular needle. Now, to weave in your ends, I like to do what we call a 3 and 3 rule. So you just go at least 3 stitches forward, 3 stitches back, and 3 stitches forward. So that's 3, 3, and 3. And you just kind of like weave your yarn into these stitches, catching in the middle of stitches. It doesn't matter where it goes. It's kind of like an anywhere type of thing, because you're just trying to weave that end in so that it doesn't unravel whenever you use it or whenever you wash it. So then when you go back through, you want to make sure you don't go through the same thing that you came through before, because you're just going to pull it right back out. So I just kind of skip that first one and just go through a few more of them. They're different stitches than I went through before. Some of them are the same. And then you just pull through and then do it one more time. And again, don't go back through that first one that you just came out of. And just kind of catch those. It doesn't matter. There's no real rhyme or reason to this. You're just kind of hiding this thread, this last piece of yarn. And with the dishcloth, it doesn't really matter. So you're pulling that through, and then you have this tail. You're just going to take your scissors and you're going to trim this tail as close to your project without cutting it as you can, and then you've hidden that tail. That's called weaving in your ends. And you're going to do the same thing with this one. I'm not going to do that on camera, but because you get the idea, but you're going to do the same thing with this one. And then you will have your nice finished dishcloth pattern. It looks like this. Sometimes they curl up on the end, that's okay. If you want it to be flat, what you can do is, they call that blocking. You can wet it a little bit and then stretch it out on a piece of cardboard or something and let it dry. Pin down the edges and let it dry, and then they'll stay straight. But that's the finished project. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.